I've been working extremely fast and hard on this project, so much that it's practically exhausted me. So, here's John Boyega. Hey there guys, this is Mr. Chicken Movies here, and welcome back to an in-depth analysis review on last year's Star Wars film, Episode 7, to build up for Rogue One. Guys, I'm looking forward to Rogue One so much, and I've enjoyed reviewing all this Star Wars stuff so much. And yeah, if this comes out on the right time, then I'm literally seeing it today, but we'll see. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, is Disney's 2015 revitalization of Star Wars. It's directed by J.J. Abrams, written by Lawrence Kasdan, scored by John Williams, produced by not George Lucas, and it stars Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Adam Driver, Harrison Ford, Oscar Isaac, Carrie Fisher, Domhnall Gleeson, Anthony Daniels, Lupita Nyong'o, Gwendolyn Christie, Simon Pegg, and Andy Serkis. So, if you don't know, to build up to Rogue One, I reviewed the original 3 Star Wars films. I reviewed the prequels. I reviewed both seasons of Rebels. I reviewed the Clone Wars movie, TV series and animated serials, and the special edition. So practically I reviewed every piece of Star Wars media leading up to this moment. And yeah, I'm here with Episode 7 now. This was an absolute hell of a review to make, I'll say that, but it was my favourite film of last year, and currently it's my favourite film franchise that's still going on today. The only one that could really rival it for me is Harry Potter. But with that said, let's get into the review. And like all the other Star Wars films, it came probably around now in a galaxy far, far away. When I saw this film on the 18th of December 2015, I couldn't believe I was staring at the opening crawl for the next chapter in the Star Wars saga. And for those who don't care about reading, let's just say that this is a really, really good opening crawl in my opinion, one of the best ones out there. And because I know you guys don't like reading, let's kind of just summarize it. So Luke Skywalker's missing, and something called the First Order's hunting him. He goes into hiding, and now Leia's made a resistance to fight the First Order. Okay, you done yet? The secret mission on Jakku to get info on where Luke is. And start. And hey, I really like this movie, so let me start off with this first shot, okay? For a start, we get new, excellent music from John Williams, and we get an amazing first shot. And whilst, yes, it is CGI, there's a sense of grounding and realism to it, which makes it feel like we've properly seen something new from a Star Wars film, well, that we wanted to see.
What are midichlorians?
And of course, in this excellent opening scene, yes, I will say excellent, we meet BB-8, who's everyone's Star Wars gift from this year, and also is probably one of the most adorable Star Wars characters.
You have to hide.
You have to leave.
What's the big blue man from X-Men and the one in the tree who trains Bran doing here? Ah, screw it, we haven't had a superb Star Wars opening in over 3 decades. You know what, forget it, we'll make it 5 minutes, considering this is the second best Star Wars opening. The only one that it does beat is Episode 4's opening. And notice this, there's actual cinematography, actual sets, actual ships that people are climbing into, an actual droid that's getting put into that ship. How new? What on earth were the prequels doing? But don't worry, because Poe's clearly been watching Episode 4. I wonder who else has. So the awesome dark-haired rebellious person puts their plans in a droid who wanders off on a desert planet on their own quest alone, again, whilst they go to fight the bad guy, again. I am quite literally salivating right now. I don't know if that's normal, but as I said, this is one of my favourite Star Wars openings, and it goes so dark with this opening scene. Villagers being shot to death, and here we meet Finn, of course, and it humanises stormtroopers. There is blood on the helmet. He is feeling something, realisation that what he's doing isn't right. This is excellent. But hey, that flame trooper guy's pretty cool. And of course, here we get introduced to Kylo Ren, and he gets quite an introduction.
Show you the dark side.
Okay, if that wasn't awesome, then you've been on something. Don't lie to me.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
And this film also nailed its first joke. Unlike The Phantom Menace, which his first joke was technically Jar Jar Binks, however, I like to see it as Newt Gunray and the rest of the Neomodian race. And here we meet Boba Fett, but Boba Fett actually fired his gun. You know, now I want to talk about Captain Phasma, a character I do legitimately have a problem with. She is completely and utterly useless, okay? Boba Fett found Han Solo, put him in carbonite, sent him to Jabba. He shot his gun. Captain Phasma deactivated the shield when there was a gun to her head. Now let's talk about CGI, okay? Now, the prequels just made CGI backgrounds, put people on green screens. There's a lot of practical set and modelling going on, which definitely helps. In addition to that, there are other people to interact with. It's really good CGI. They use models and props to make things work, and most importantly, the characters actually react like normal humans. Poe Dameron reacts with awe, and that really improves the film and sets it apart from the prequels. And in our second scene, we instantly have an interesting character to root for who isn't perfect and actually has something excellent about them. You see, George, you need a motivating character. That's how filmmaking works. And next up we meet Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, who I don't think did anything else before Star Wars. And she is an absolute revelation in this role, but another revelation is the music. Again, I would like to point out that this is a modern take on Star Wars, and it is done practically to the best it could have been. These are practical sets. It uses CGI modelling and advanced design in CGI to make this look as good as possible. Some say it uses pandering imagery, but it's a Star Wars film. Get over it. I really don't care about that. And for every piece of Star Wars imagery that there is, it adds far more new imagery. Rey, in my opinion, is the best Force Awakens character in this film, but I can't help but think that this looks like the lady in episode 1. Storm's coming up, honey! Wow, what did he grow up into?
I don't like sand.
What you brought me today is worth... 1/4 portion.
And so Rey returns home to her AT-AT, well, crashed AT-AT, which I would love to live in as a home. And notice this, kids. Make sure to get our Star Wars action figures. So Rey rescues BB-8, and can I just say I love the character of Rey for a second time, and I love the character of BB-8 for a second time. Their interaction is really good in this film. Yeah, I'm kind of just pointing out things that the prequels didn't do that this film did, so we'll be here for a while.
What are midi-chlorians?
So Poe wakes up in a cell on the Executioner, to the lovely face of Kylo Ren, who gives him a force migraine, because I guess those exist now. For the third time, I would like to say both Rey and BB-8 are great. In fact, compared to the prequels, they're worth about
60 portions.
And Finn has a change of heart and rescues Poe. And God, he's sweaty. And they become best friends in the process. And, yeah, somehow they got a better best friend male dynamic in about 5 minutes compared to the prequels taking over 3 movies. But they get blown up and crash land on Jakku, where for some reason, the TIE fighter explodes. Was Michael Bay a consultant in this scene? So now Poe's definitely dead and Finn decides to strip. Well, at least he knows how deserts work. There are some people who don't. George Lucas. So then he goes to a town where he catches cholera. Then he meets a slightly murderous BB-8 and Rey and tells them that he's part of the Resistance. I guess he's lightheaded because he just caught cholera. He also tells them that Poe's dead, and for some reason BB-8 feels sad. Yeah, robots can do that. But then stormtroopers show up and they do their best interpretive Tom Cruise impression.
We might!
This Mission Impossible film?
60 portions.
But this Mission Impossible film...
That one's garbage!
So then they're chased by TIE fighters, so they get into the Millennium Falcon. Man, I can't wait to see the 2020 anthology film about Unkar Plot. Then we get an amazing and also comedic sequence of the Millennium Falcon flying through a ruined Star Destroyer. And guys, the CGI is almost perfect in this film. I mean, it's clearly CGI, but it doesn't look distracting in any way. This is a really well done action scene in my opinion. They fly away from Jakku and the Millennium Falcon, but there's a malfunction, and god BB-8's so cool. Then Kylo Ren has a baby tantrum. But someone gets onto their ship, and it's Han and Chewie.
We're home.
They team up to find Luke thanks to the information that's in BB-8. But they're cornered by the Scottish Mafia and a waste of a perfectly good raid cast. But the gangs are attacked by Rathars, which look very frequently, so I don't really enjoy this sequence that much. It goes on way too long, and also the Rathars look like the things from the Lego Doctor Strange. So, Rey, Finn, Han, Chewie, and BB-8 all leave in the Millennium Falcon. And that was a bit of a pointless sequence then, wasn't it? Next up we meet Snoke randomly, who's this giant scarred guy. I mean, he's Mace Windu. The Princess Leia. Jar Jar Binks. Oh, screw it, I don't care. He's probably just his own thing.
Father. Han. Solo.
I'm going to be completely honest here. I think they drove that reveal into the ground. This is how I would have done it. We never find out that Ben is Kylo Ren. Instead, maybe in the scene where Han Solo goes, Ben! That would be a far better reveal. But, nope. We've got to reveal it now, I guess. Because reasons. Because pacing and plot.
You almost killed me 6 times!
I think Chewbacca may be racist. After all, he's only strangled black people. But hey, that's just a theory. Okay, now I feel like I need to address the Rey being Mary Sue thing, because it just really annoys me now. I don't think that Rey is a Mary Sue. One, she doesn't actually do everything, and when she does do things, she fails before doing them. In the fight with Kylo Ren, she gets thrown into a freaking tree, then gets practically beaten instantly in the fight. Before, you know, she beats Kylo Ren. And God bless me, the visual effects and design is good as ever as we go to Takodana, one of the most beautiful looking sets of Star Wars scenery ever.
I can handle myself.
I know you do, that's why I'm giving it to you.
Again, this film takes a quite comedic approach to things, which proves that everything doesn't have to be dark and gritty, like practically every reimagining has to be. No, we can actually have fun with a Star Wars film, as opposed to practically all of the reboots and remakes. Next they go to the Mos Eisley Cantina where J.J. Abrams is a backup singer, and we meet the prequel-esque Maz Kanata.
Hey, Maz.
You know, this only just occurred to me. Why is Kylo Ren respecting Darth Vader, considering he died killing the most powerful Sith existing to save a Jedi? Kylo Ren, you complete and utter moron. So they have a little chat with each other, in which Maz Kanata, again, reminds me of the prequels. So Finn screws up and Rey finds out. I guess Han's pep talk earlier was right. And, yeah, Finn goes off with some bounty hunters. And Rey, I guess, decides to have a wander around. She goes to the wine cellar and finds a strange box with Luke's lightsaber in it. I really don't know how Maz Kanata managed to get Luke's lightsaber, but I guess they won't explain that. I don't know, maybe Lando will be in episode 8. And now we get a series of trailer shots, future-like visions, in all one moment. Let's just skip to the action now. Alright, so the third Death Star Starkiller base blows up a load of planets. And god, do Maz Kanata's eyes look like buttholes. And for some reason, Rey's run into the woods with BB-8, because I guess they need to get the plans away for no reason.
A good question. For another time.
And now we get the destruction of Takodana, which to be honest could be the finale of this film. It would be as good as a finale as Starkiller Base was, in my opinion. Except from, Starkiller Base isn't a rip-off of the Death Star. And they say Rey's a Mary Sue. And I'm going to be honest here, I really like this sequence. Whether it's Han using Chewie's weapon, Finn impaling people with lightsabers, Maz Kanata randomly disappearing, or Nines, or as I like to call him, TR-8R. And we get our first lightsaber fight of the film, which in my opinion is one of the best lightsaber fights out there. Or at least of this new trilogy. You see, whether it looked like two old people banging sticks or a dance, they've never really have had proper weight. This time you can feel every hit made, and every beat, I guess you could say. And they also just killed off Nines. Great. Then the Resistance arrive, which still reminds me that Stormtroopers are completely useless. Then Kylo Ren uses his Force Feint ability, which he never heard about, to take Rey back to Starkiller Base with him. Next, General Leia, not Princess Leia, arrives and lands with the Resistance, but before she can talk to Han, C-3PO, you jerk. So these two seem to be getting along just fine, if you ask me, and they talk about their son, Ben Solo, or as you should know him, Kylo Ren, because, they're parents and they want their son back. We then find out that Poe is still alive. Are they ever going to explain it? Hell no, but hey, there's a pretty cool reunited scene with Poe, BB-8 and Finn. Then BB-8 finds a turned off R2-D2 in the shed, but that doesn't matter. BB-8's plans are incomplete, and Leia wants Han to turn Kylo to the good side. I'm getting a death vibe here. Rey wakes up at Starkiller Base, where Kylo Ren actually takes his mask off. And it's a guy. It's a guy. I mean, what were you expecting? It's the son of two humans. Do you expect her to have some sort of strange, mauled face? Oh. Sorry, Darth Maul, but hey, Kylo Ren has more character than you do. Then Kylo uses Force Interrogate on Rey, and for some reason she can resist it. I don't really have anything to... yeah, whatever. Move on. Okay, now I have a common defense to this, which is, if you say she's a Mary Sue, then how come she fails twice to Jedi mind trick this guy? Think about it.
No.
I'm starting to get a childish YouTube commenter vibe from this guy. So Starkiller Base has got another half an hour to fire.
Death Star.
Oh, my mistake, Death Star 3. So before Death Star 3 can fire, Han, Finn and Chewie are going to arrive in hyperspace to deactivate the shields, then Poe and the other X-Wings will destroy the base before the base can do that. I wonder how long that will... The answer is there's still 30 minutes of the actual film left. Then this movie becomes Fast and Furious, as they act like complete idiots and arrive in hyperspace. Admittedly, it makes for a pretty fun moment, but it just shows that Han really shouldn't be flying a ship. Clearly his old age has affected him really badly. So they land and capture Captain Useless, who now, as soon as they get a gun to their head, turns the shields off. So essentially, the one who's responsible for Starkiller Base being destroyed is Captain Phasma. Wow, what an interesting character.
Trash compactor.
Reference. The three of them meet up with Rey and decide to put some bombs in the oscillator to do some damage to it, so Poe can blow the rest of it up. If Poe's such a good pilot, then surely he'd be able to blow up the oscillator easily. Are you still not going to explain how he survived? So we cut to a space fight where I don't have investment in any of the characters in this fight. Now, I will say that the CGI and all the other visual stuff, direction, cinematography, all that, it's all really good, but there's no investment to Poe, really. He's a cool guy, but he's not that investing of a character, to be honest. Han, Chewie, Rey, and Finn, to be honest, are all very well fleshed out, and so, yeah, they plant some bombs, and we actually have tension when we get to the most tense moment of the film. Let's see, characters looking confused, enemies going around, no music, 2 characters you haven't met yet with an important past, interesting lighting and filmmaking and writing, oh yeah, and a bad guy and someone who doesn't want to be in these films walking across a bridge with no barriers. What could possibly go wrong? Now, it may be strange to talk about, but I want to point out lighting in this scene. Look at Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo's face here. Half of it is in artificial red light, the other half is in natural white light. Granted, they're probably both artificial, but that's not the point. It shows conflict through the lighting. It's red versus white, evil versus good. And it's showing that Kylo Ren is, to be quite frank, split apart by it. Then when Han's given the lightsaber, the natural white light goes out, leaving the room in darkness and only red light to shine on Kylo Ren's face. He's made a decision. See you in the Han Solo movie in 2018. This entire sequence is done so well, but anyway, Chewie blows up the oscillator thing so that X-Wings can essentially destroy it now, and Rey and Finn run. However, they're not fast enough.
We're not done yet.
So Rey gets thrown into a freaking tree, and you say she's a Mary Sue, do you? Now let's talk about the saber fight. Now, this isn't a dance or clumsy whacking of sticks. It's a proper fight. They feel like they're about to kill each other. Trees are falling. You feel the hit and the sound of it. And it's very entertaining because of almost its brutality. And this is after the most dramatic and emotional scene of the film. And so it absolutely works perfectly. This is one of my favourite saber fights. But maybe behind Maul versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. And of course, the Empire Strikes Back fight between Luke and Vader. So Finn's back gets slashed in, and Rey pulls out Luke's lightsaber from the snow. I mean, think about it. There's no evidence of Finn being a Jedi, but Rey is shown to be Force sensitive. And let's get on to the real fight. Okay, I promise no more Mary Sue stuff until I get to my final thoughts, okay? Rey being a Mary Sue is kind of needed. She's our first main female character, and she needs to actually do something. Leia did minuscule amounts of things, and Padme did nothing. Rey is essentially paying up for that. Now let's cut to the space battle that no one cares about. It's very similar to Episode 4. It's a trench run with TIE fighters and X-Wing on a thing that can destroy planets, and so they have to destroy it before it destroys them. But except from rather than having investment in Luke, we just have investment in Poe, and we don't really have much of that. So anyway, him being perfect, he's a real Mary Sue here. He blows up the oscillator. But the fight continues on a now collapsing Starkiller base, and there's one thing I want to point out. The performances by Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver are the highlights of this film. In my opinion, they're the 2 best performances of this film. Granted, everyone does their part a lot in this film, but in particular, it's Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver that add so much humanity to this film, and that's why I love this fight so much. So she uses the Force to kick Kylo Ren's butt. But conveniently, they're separated. But fortunately, Rey and Finn are rescued by Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon. So everyone leaves, except Captain Phasma and Han Solo's corpse, and Starkiller Base blows up. Like the other 2 Death Stars before it. God damn it! So now let's wrap up. Leia hugs Rey instead of Chewie for some reason, because she finds out Han is dead. R2-D2 magically turns on, and he shows them where Luke is. Finn gets friend-zoned, Kylo Ren is somehow alive, Rey then travels to an unnamed planet and finds Luke Skywalker. She then hands him his old lightsaber, and The movie ends right there. That's right, the film ends with a cliffhanger. Now, let's get to the actual final thoughts. So now come my thoughts on the film. I really enjoy it. It's my second favourite of the Star Wars films, and I'll tell you why. For a start, the characters are very well fleshed out and portrayed. In a visual way, it is a masterpiece. I love the way this film is made. I love various things like lighting, which I didn't even really notice or care about with films. But I still really appreciated it. It has a visual change, which I really enjoy. I love the new characters. It is a pretty well written film. Saying that, however, there are some flaws with this film. For one, I don't like how it takes so much from the original Star Wars films. That really did take me out of the film at moments, if you ask me. In addition, it does spend a lot of time doing humour and a couple of weird bits of stuff, which did annoy me a bit, but hey, I'm fine with that. It did a lot new. After all, if you're going to say that this film copied from the originals, then look at the prequels. This is a quote from George Lucas, it's poetry. Every stanza has to rhyme with the next. So, yeah, how are you going to defend that then, huh? But now I want to talk about the Rey being Mary Sue thing. I don't think she's a Mary Sue, just simply because Rey is not a perfect character. She has these emotional flaws, like you see in Maz Kanata's castle. She has to go back to Jakku. She gets beaten several times before she can do what she needs to do, and that is why Rey is such an entertaining character. This is a very entertaining film, but yeah, it does have its problems. I can get over those because a lot of things are very well done in this movie. It is a very well written, very well made, and a lot of care was put into Star Wars The Force Awakens, and that's my conclusion. It's my second favourite of the Star Wars films, behind Empire Strikes Back. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. And so, of course, guys, Star Wars The Force Awakens is getting a 5 out of 5. And with that, I conclude my series of Star Wars reviews. Now, obviously, I will be doing various other Star Wars reviews after this. Of course, there's going to be a Rogue One review at some point as I'm seeing it. Hopefully on the day this comes out, so I've probably already seen it. By the time you've got to this part. But anyway, that I will end this video here. And anyway, for a start, check out my Twitter at MrChicken4321 and check out my gaming channel, MrChicken167. And if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye!